My name's Charles Brooks Hixon. I'm from class of '07, and Seattle, Washington's where I come from. Verde Valley School was an amazing story I heard about from a friend. So I had liked my high school, but my mom's friend came to visit one day and talked about this amazing school where, you know, it was really close and personal. It was one of the best schools in the Southwest, and it was near my family, and I thought, why not take a look? And I interviewed there and had an amazing time. So I have a very clear memory of my first impression of when I came to campus first. It was getting off the bus, a ton of new kids, new faces, obviously wondering what's going to happen next. And the first person I ever met was actually Ernesto de Sola, and we were friends for the next 2 years after that. So, you know, it was really a place where you could just meet somebody and have a great first connection. I think the second person I met actually was Sasha. Sasha and I and Ernesto immediately were like three good friends. They could both speak Spanish, which I was always a little jealous of, but they taught me quite a bit. And I just immediately felt at home with people that I'd never met before. And it was just such a beautiful place. And everybody you met there was somebody who wanted to be your friend immediately and challenge you in a different way. The school itself was actually inspiring. Actually, just going to school there was more inspiring than I'd ever been for education before, because you knew the teachers and they wanted you to like learn a particular subject that they were passionate about. So yeah, I had a good time there. It's one of my favorite memories is actually walking off that bus into that new school quad. So. No, VVS absolutely influenced me in many ways. One, I mean, I can't even imagine the change that my friends must have thought of when I came back home after VVS into the Seattle area, because I just was taller, I grew, and I was just way more like inspired about what I was like confident about, and had a good solid understanding of where I wanted to go next. And so VVS influenced me in the way that I felt like I could be, you know, pursue my goals, which could be crazy and different than others had thought. Like, I'd never thought to go mountain biking or rock climbing and just spend like a week just out there. And I thought, coming out of that I could meet people just like that, and I continued to have those kind of adventures for the rest of my life, honestly. Whereas I never would have run into that before. Absolutely not. Living in urban Seattle. And so yeah. And of course I have the best friends of my life from there. So they've come through for me many times. Cool. Field trips, probably one of the favorite things I like to talk about VBS. So the field trip I went on my first year was Joshua Tree National Park. I had just started rock climbing when I got to VBS on a whim, and then within that year to be able to go to Joshua Tree, and if anybody knows rock climbing, Joshua Tree is really the mecca of the United States, you know, and to go there with such a close crew at that point of people who were really focused, who'd been climbing with each other that whole year, to go for that. I mean, I don't think I had a better time camping out in the wilderness, or a better time just like being in this brand new environment, and the connections that I made with people while I was out there. Hilarious, stressful, camping for 2 weeks with no showers, you know, climbing rocks every day. The best time of my life. Outdoors. And then I had the next year an entirely different experience. Jeff, who was the pottery teacher at the time, an amazing artist, personally walked up to me one day and said, you know, Charles, I know you're decent at ceramics, but you're not the best, because I was in his class at the time, but I know that you have like a passion for it, and I want you to come to Mata Ortiz with me and, you know, learn this kind of reinvented Meccan style of pottery, and I think that you'd be a really good addition to the group. we stopped in Agua Prieta first. It was a very impoverished city, and we spent about 5 days there living in the orphanage, local orphanage, and building a house out of stone to help replace somebody's cardboard house. And it was a really intense physical week, which led into this amazing time of going down to Mato Ortiz itself, this tiny little 4th-street village where they have completely recreated this art, this ancient art of ceramics, and having one-on-ones with us. I loved it. In fact, I loved it so much I felt so bad. I think Jeff will always remember me for this, that I had told our host that I would love to do this at home, and he kind of sweated a little bit about it for some reason. He left. And later that night, after everything was calming down, he pulled me aside, pulled me into the room. He grabbed a bag and handfuls of this special clay and just stuffed it in his bag, and he said, "Don't tell my wife." And I took it home with me, and I had no idea what to do with it. I could not replicate it. I ended up talking to my art teacher and letting him take it off my hands to create something beautiful out of it, because I just couldn't commit myself to it. And Jeff was always mad at me about not making another piece with that special clay. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget a beautiful opportunity it was, the kindness that I was shown by these strangers, and who had me, let me sleep in their home, and teach me this thing. I mean, what an experience! You could never come across it anywhere else, honestly. Yeah. There was a lot of times that were similar in VBS where you kind of separate from like having to have like the social pressure of being with a ton of people and also being able to be best friends with people, where you'll just walk off and you'll have one of the most amazing days with like one of your best friends, and you'll find new things, you'll go to new places. Like, I can't tell you how many different best friend hikes I went on and found these special places, and we had, each time was its own unique little anecdotal story that I probably told half a dozen times each time. And so no, there's nothing in particular I can tell you that is an anecdote, because it was all a little unique, and everybody will tell you every year was a unique year. You never have the same group of kids, and each group of kids will change the way it is. My junior year and my senior year were 2 different years. Totally loved them, totally different, totally just a vibe that you create with the people you're with. So yeah. I'd have to say 2 people. One was my dorm parent, Septimus, who was such a strange character, but a very loving man. And it's weird to be, moving from being under your parents' house to being under the responsibility of this eccentric and amazing father figure of his own. Right? He had kids of his own who lived with us, and he was an inspiration and a caretaker. I really respect him for doing the difficult job that it is that he did. And then of course my best friend, probably Logan Foray, who randomly approached me one day, gave me the nickname Chuck the Duck, like the 3rd day I met him, and hence I've ever been known by all class 07. We had so many great times together. Yeah, and then talk to him to this day on the weekly to monthly. So yeah, he helped me experience a totally different side. He was a fun man, and we kind of were able to feed off each other's energy and just have a lot of good times together. So he was inspirational. There's so many inspirational people though. Everybody's favorite place on campus, I believe, is Calpi. You would hike up Calpi. It was the best little hike you could do, right off of the dorms, and you could see the sunset every night from this fantastic view. And you would meet there all the times for whatever reason. So if you're going to go out for a big hike that day, and you talk to your friends, let's meet on Calpi at 7, 10 o'clock, and you know, everybody knew what you meant. It was the place to go. That, and I'd say the dining hall, because of the amazing view of Cathedral Rock. The quad really. The amazing view of Cathedral Rock, my favorite place. It was beautiful. I don't know how many times I walked out of my dorm, my front door, and looked out over that view and just kind of had a good morning. It was a good day. It was a good day for that. So yeah. I don't know if I would. I think that it was like a really raw learning experience, and you know, I think that the unexpected and the surprise that I had was really, you know, part of it. But if I had to, I would tell myself to appreciate like the times to relax, but also to, you know, pursue your goals with passion. I always loved the fact that one of the things I did there was like to really get passionate about a few things and go after them hard with mountain biking and climbing and everything, and you know, just be free to go after your passion. So I don't know. I think I wouldn't tell myself. Honestly, I wouldn't tell myself. I'd let myself feel it out. So.